The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
The following letters were written by our troops.
My dear fellow Americans, I truly appreciate your support. I was starting to wonder if people had forgotten about us over here, but then one of my buddies showed me this website, and now as tears are streaming down my face, I can see for sure that you haven't. Private Emily B., U.S. Army.
It's so heartwarming to see the American people not letting the men and women of the armed forces be forgotten. Your letters make a group of grown men, battle-hardened and gruff, act like a bunch of kids around a Christmas tree. Thanks. Staff Sergeant Matthew H., U.S. Army.
Your support may be the most important thing our troops can carry with them. But don't take our word for it. Take theirs. To show your support, visit americasupportsyou.mil. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Defense and the Ad Council.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. We leave no warrior behind. Wounded Warrior Project is a non-profit organization created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war. Whether those scars are physical or mental, we're here to make sure that they heal. And whether it's helping those with post-traumatic stress disorder live a normal life again, or giving much-needed support to injured warriors in veterans' hospitals. Because no one deserves our help more than the men and women who risk their lives to keep us safe. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Were you born from 1945 to 1965? People born during these years are 5 times more likely to have hepatitis C. So even if you try to eat right, exercise, and take care of yourself, you could still have hepatitis C, a serious disease that's a leading cause of liver cancer. If you were born from 1945 to 65, you should get a blood test for hepatitis C. Treatments can cure this disease. Talk to your doctor about getting tested. A message from the CDC.
See that cute little dog in the pet store window? Chances are it came from a puppy mill, a breeding facility that forces caged, neglected, and often sick dogs to churn out puppy after puppy to be sold for profit. Meanwhile, millions of wonderful, healthy pets end up in animal shelters. This leads to the killing of more than 9,000 by the end of today. But with one simple choice, you can help. just by deciding to adopt instead of purchase your next pet. Animal shelters are full of amazing pets looking for a home. When you adopt your new best friend, not only are you saving a life, you're taking a stand against puppy mills. When your friends see the smart choice and impact you've made, they adopt their next pet and share with 5 of their friends, who share with 5 more. Before long, thousands get involved. Pet stores stop selling dogs from puppy mills, and even more lives are saved. And with your help, we can save them all. Visit bestfriends.org/puppymills to learn more.
Thousands of families affected by disasters, like the recent wildfires, urgently need support. You can help the American Red Cross provide warm meals, shelter, and hope to families when they need it most. Please donate today to Red Cross Disaster Relief to help people affected by disasters, big and small. Go to redcross.org or call 1-800-RED-CROSS today. Your support is critical. We can't do it without you.
The following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Find it a little surreal looking at Donald Trump on the telly as the president of these United States of America? Yeah, I do a little bit. I actually watched it last night, and I was waiting for him to tell somebody they were fired. Anyway, good morning, America. It is I, your lovable host, Elrod, coming to you live from the Bunkerized studio somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire, where the state motto is still live free or die. It is not big government or bust. Here it is on Wednesday, Weddings Day, in the February the 1st now, in the year of our Lord 2017. So it is now the first day of February. It is also Black History Month, which, for those of you who've been following me or this program for any period of time, you know I'm not a fan of that. I'm one of the more poignant responses to this month. I think it was Morley Safer asked Morgan Freeman about Black History Month. And Morgan basically turned it around on him and said, should we have a White History Month? And Morley Safer said, well, no. Well, why? Why not? He said, Black history is my history, and it's your history. It's American history. It's world history. It's not separate. It's not different. It's highly integrated with the rest of the world. When you have Black History Month, you're saying, oh, well, blacks didn't contribute to the rest of the world. Their history is completely, totally separate. And don't give me this notion, well, they don't study Black history throughout the year. Well, why not? It's part of history. Why isn't it integrated with other history? Why is it separated out? And why are we only getting 1 month to celebrate so-called Black history? And why is it the shortest month of the year? Hey, why is everybody jumping up and down? Oh, looky. We gave the Negroes their own happy holiday month so they can share and learn all about their history. They get a whole month to learn about their history. where the rest of the year, 11 months out of the year, we're not supposed to learn about it? Is that what they're talking about? Because it's only in February. When is Latino History Month? Oh, there isn't one. So why in the hell are blacks running around thinking that it is so great and so wonderful? It's this whole, it's a brainwash mentality, folks. That's all it is. I know there used to be a high-ranking, high-level person in the Amway business before they changed and went all wonky. By the way, the Betsy DeVos, anybody know who that is? That is the daughter-in-law of one of the co-founders of Amway. Richard DeVos has a son by the name of Richard DeVos. He goes by Dick DeVos, actually, but the son goes by Richard DeVos. Is the wife of Richard DeVos. And Richard DeVos's dad, Dick DeVos, is the co-founder of Amway. And Dick DeVos is also the owner of the Orlando Magic basketball team. That's who Betsy DeVos is. Because everybody's running around talking about this woman's a billionaire. I'm thinking, billionaire? Why does that name sound familiar? Yeah, it's the co-founder of Amway's daughter-in-law. His eldest son married Betsy DeVos. I forget what her maiden name is, but that's who Trump's education pick is, by the way. And now, when I learned that that's the Betsy DeVos that I know, I listen to a lot of these people talk about how she's not qualified, and then I realized who she is, and I thought, well, hell, there's probably nobody is. Just because she doesn't have a master's degree in education doesn't make her ill-qualified to be the Secretary of Education. She's highly qualified, actually. Look, I don't know how many times I mentioned this before. This nation put men on the moon with scientists educated by teachers who basically roughly finished the 8th grade or high school. They didn't go to college and get educational master's degrees in education or PhDs in education. And as a matter of fact, it's these people with all these master's degrees and PhDs in education that have screwed up our educational system so bad. Remember, we didn't always have a Department of Education. Department of Education is a relatively new department in the federal government put in place by President Jimmy Carter. So before we had the Department of Education, we had an educational system in this country that actually worked. Since the Department of Education, and since all these wonderful master degreed and PhD degreed educational people got into the educational system, our whole public school system has been falling apart. And they come up with, instead of teaching kids real history and real information, they come up with these special months for Black history. Why? I don't want anybody to tell me that, this is the month we learn about your history. Well, no, it's not just my history. Do people realize that Black history is really part of American history? And if it's American history, it's your history, not just mine. I mean, hell, you might as well have a history month for every ethnic background. Then I don't think we learn too much about Asian history in this country, do we? No. Well, Asians had a very large part of opening up the West and connecting the two coasts in this country, called the railroad, and all kinds of other things out west that they did and helped build. How about Native Americans? We got a Native American History Month? No. Why not? They were here first. Isn't that what all the liberals tell us? They were here first, and we stole the land from them. Is that the only history that Native Americans have is being conquered by white Europeans? That's it? No, there's more history to them than that. So why isn't there a Native American History Month? Like I said, there's no Latino History Month or Spaniard History Month. Are we going to have a Muslim History Month now, or a Moorish History Month. The only people who who aren't allowed to have a History Month all of their own is Northern European white people, Caucasians. You're can't have a Caucasian History Month because I guess your history is all year. The rest of us that need to have this special month, right? But wait, who gets the short month? Why do blacks get the short month? Because our history's shorter? There's less history for blacks or something? I don't know. I'm just trying to figure it out. It should all be one history. It should, well, there's two histories, two focuses. It should be American history and world history. Regardless of the skin color of the participants that you're studying about. I mean, it's nonsensical. This whole notion. Well, I don't. Does anybody? By the way, has anybody ever seen any? Because also this month is Valentine's Day, and also this month is President's Day, which used to be celebrated separately. Then they combined them all into one holiday. It used to be George Washington's birthday and Lincoln's birthday, and then Reagan's birthday is around here somewhere. I think is it the 11th? Is this month sometime this month? It's funny how. But you know they didn't want to celebrate Reagan's birthday, so they thought, well, let's celebrate all the presidents, all the good presidents and the bad presidents. So yeah. So Obama's going to be celebrated this month as well. Well, he was a president. It's nice to say that he was a president instead of he is. We made it through barely. We made it through. Barely made it through. This country barely squeaked by. But so we have Valentine's Day. You know, the other day I actually saw a President's Day card. Now, I don't know if it's Hallmark or everybody talks about Hallmark cards. I saw a President's Day card. Yeah. Something about, celebrating and delivering power to you on this wonderful Remembrance Day of our presidents or something stupid. I'm like, who's going to buy that card and send it to somebody? Well, evidently, there's, a greeting card company out there that decided President's Day needed a greeting card. Well, of course, you got greeting cards for, Valentine's Day. And if you have this special lady in your life and you don't get her roses, chocolate, and or a Valentine's greeting card, you're going to be in the doghouse. That goes for lesbian couples too. The more masculine of the two needs to buy the roses for the more feminine of the two, because if you don't, hell, you get two women together, and their emotions start running. It's not going to be a pretty sight for Valentine's Day. If you haven't already made reservations at your favorite expensive restaurant, you're probably too late. I know people that they try to. A few years ago, a friend of mine tried to circumvent that, not only the high cost, but not being able to get into his favorite spot. So what did he do? Instead of February 14th taking his girlfriend, fiance, out to dinner, he took her out February 13th and said, "This is Valentine's Day." She was not amused. Just say she was not amused by that. So needless to say, I don't think he's done anything like that since. But why is that? Hey, ladies, you know that Valentine's roses that normally cost like $15 to $20 for a dozen are now $60 to $100 for a dozen around this time of year. Why? Why put your guy through that kind of mess? And knowing that your favorite restaurants or eateries, they raise the prices slightly for this day, and you got to have reservations. If you don't get reservations, like a year in advance for this day, you're probably not going to get in. Why would you do that? This is supposed to be a day of love. Why would you do that to your man? I've gone around. I've had my day with having to deal with Valentine's Day. It's not fun, folks. It really they like to try to make you think that it is fun. But you know what? It's very much like Christmas. Valentine's Day used to have a real meaning, but now it's become very commercialized. And if you don't live up to the commercial standard, then somehow you failed and the woman in your life is going to be highly disappointed. I don't think that's accurate, but that's the way it turns out.
You're listening to me, your lovable host, L. Rod, here on the Rod Eccles Show.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said to me, I bet you won't lend me money to buy an electric guitar. Well, he was making $100 a week, and he was over 18, and I said, I bet you I will lend you money to buy an electric guitar. And I did. So what happens? The punk gets busted for possession of dangerous drugs, and we're out $350. There's one thing about kids nowadays. You don't have to give them credit.
Universal Bank. We trust you. About as far as we can throw you.
(603-835-3226). That is a number to use if you wish to speak to me directly here on the Rod Eccles Show. You can call that toll-free number. Toll-free for most calling plans across the globe. Don't forget, later this morning around sometime at the top of the hour, we'll have our weekly Intel report with Secret CS. We should give him a code name. Maybe I should get one of those voice disguisers too. Disguises the voice so people can't figure out who he is. Got to protect my sources. Got to protect our sources. So last night, the Democrats, or yesterday, basically all day yesterday. I mean, this week started out. Over the weekend it started out with the liberal Democrats in a full-fledged moon battery meltdown. These people have lost their damn minds. I know we say that often, but we usually say that figuratively. But did anybody hear Nancy Pelosi over the weekend? I mean, we can honestly say that, that liberals have lost their damn minds in a figurative way. But I really think there's something wrong with her mentally. Did anybody hear or see her over the weekend when she was trying to rally the troops against Donald Trump and his so-called Muslim ban? She's talking about the moon, the new moon. There's a problem with the new moon. There is no moon out there. You can't see it. What the hell was she looking at to say it was a beautiful new moon? I'm telling you, folks, did anybody else pick that up? I don't think there's another single talking head out there that picked that. She was talking about looking at the new moon. Now, maybe I misheard her, but she was talking about the new moon. You cannot see the new moon. It's not in the night sky. I mean, it's there. Does she have special X-ray vision? It's in a position where you see the moon because of the sunlight being reflected off the moon's surface back down to the earth. Well, during a new moon, it is in a position where the sunlight, the reflected light from the moon's surface is reflected out into outer space, and none of it is reflected back to Earth. So you can't see it. So it's like a black orb. So I guess unless she had some sort of special vision and goggles on, and she was really, really looking, and she knew exactly where to look, how the hell was she seeing the new moon? I don't know. I've been trying to figure that one out. So these people they've lost their minds. They're in a total meltdown. And, of course, it didn't matter who Trump was going to, there was people speculating that Trump was going to throw in somebody as a sacrificial lamb, and then he was going to get, and the Democrats were going to squash that idea, kind of like they did with Robert Bork all those years ago. He was going to pick somebody to be borked, basically, and then put in Gorsuch. But he doubled down and went for all the marbles all at once. He just said, screw that. Trump doesn't have time to play games. He won't play political games. He doesn't have time for it. Anybody notice that? Everybody's talking about the political game of what Trump was probably going to do in order to get his real choice put in there. So then, the first one was going to be excoriated. So the next one that he put in, which is really the one that he wanted to put in, would sail right through. The hell with that. Trump isn't playing political games. He threw his brightest and his best card on the table right off the bat. And you got to wonder, what is it about this guy that Democrats like Chucky Schumer doesn't like? Well, he's an originalist interpreter of the Constitution. Yeah, liberals don't like the Constitution. So they don't want anybody who's going to think of it in an originalist term. There are conspiracy theorists out there that think Scalia was assassinated and that he just didn't die of old age or heart failure. I'm not going to go down that road, but they fully look. It was kind of interesting timing, and now you got the New York Times out there. We'll go over this just in a moment. But you got the New York Times out there saying that Trump has nominated his pick for the Supreme Court from the stolen seat. Yeah. Now we're going to get, Trump is illegitimate, and Trump stole the Supreme Court nomination. Yeah, this is what we're getting, folks, from the left. I mean, they've totally become unhinged. And we keep telling them this is not a ban. Muslim, 7 countries. There are temporary limits to travel from 7 countries. There are some, 60 nations that are that are considered to be Muslim majority. Out of the 60 nations, only 7. So basically, another 50 plus countries are free to come and go to the United States. They're all Muslim, but it's a Muslim travel ban. How is it a Muslim travel ban? And how is it that Obama can limit travel, including Iraqis, for 6 months, Yeah, that's not a ban. That's not un-American. Carter back in the late 70s could ban Iranians from coming here, and that wasn't he just banned them. And if you had a visa and your visa expired and you were Iranian, no, you had to go. But that was okay too. These people are in full meltdown.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all, the few, the proud, the Marines.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us,
after this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please call or go online right now.
Hello, America. It's me, your history. I remember a time when we thumbed our nose in a king's face, sent him packing. And when fascists and emperors talked a little bit too loud, we showed up, tore their cities to the ground, and then rebuilt them just to prove we could. We put men on the moon, we won a Cold War, and we elected fearless leaders who led fearless people. What the hell happened to you, America? Back in my day, we didn't elect a big-eared community organizer. We punched him in the kidney. Maybe it's time you came home, America. Home where you belong.
(603-835-3226). That is the number to call. That is a dangerous number to utilize if you are on the right and you're out there fighting the left. Well, you don't even have to fight them. All you got to do is just speak the truth. They don't like truth. They don't like truth. They really don't. Folks, this is when I tell you that these folks have become unhinged. There's a second part to that, and that is that the Democrat Party has been co-opted by Muslims. And don't go with the Obama thing. I'm not even talking about Barack Obama being Muslim. Look, we know that the man has split loyalties between Christianity and Islam. There's no doubt about it. I mean, he spent a good part of his formative years as a young child in Indonesian public schools, which are all Muslim. So he had to act like a good little Muslim boy when he was going to those schools. So he has got a very large dose of Islamic knowledge while he was there. And even his Christianity is a little bit tainted because the church that he sat in for 20 plus years in Illinois, in Chicago, the Reverend Wright was a fan of Louis Farrakhan, as well as he also believed in what is known as Black liberation theology, which has its roots. It's like Madonna's religion, Kabbalah. It's like some combination of religions into one. Well, Black liberation theology does take some Islamic notions and tenets and tosses them in there because they believe that Islam has which is why we have something called the Nation of Islam in Louis Farrakhan. They believe that Islam is the way to racial freedom and harmony. Because evidently, if you're Muslim, you're not a racist because everybody is a child of Allah, so they say. So everybody suffers the same fate. If you do not, it doesn't matter if you're black, white, yellow, brown, purple, pink, it doesn't matter. You need to come to become a Muslim and believe in Islam and pray to Allah 6 times a day. So according to Islam, there is no race. Separate human race. So this is why there's this whole notion of Islam, but in Black liberation theology, because there's also this tenet part of it that is very violent, and that that revolution needs to take place, in that in order for all mankind, not just blacks, to be truly free, there has to be violence that has to be perpetrated. And those who are against real freedom need to be wiped from the earth. Now, unfortunately, they believe that there is a race of people that is of the devil. They're called the devil race, and those are Caucasians, white European people, basically. If you are white, then you are a child of the devil, according to Nation of Islam and Black liberation theology. Because after all, it's your fault. If you're white, it's your fault that your ancestors bought and sold slaves. Forget the fact that this whole African slave trade thing got started when African kings decided to sell their political enemies and their military enemies. When the Dutch arrived and said, "Hey, they said, take our prisoners, make them slave," and that's how the whole thing got started. They didn't land in Africa one day, like you see in the original Roots movie, just land and with their ropes and nets and start running after and chasing black people down, Africans. That's not how it started. Historical data proves and shows that there was trading that took place, and that African kings sold off other Africans to white Europeans, who then brought them to all over the place. They brought them mostly to the New World, to North America and the Caribbean islands, and even parts of South America. So, this is why there's such a mix of people. I mean, look at Puerto Ricans have a proudly so have a very prominent African history as well as Spanish history. I mean, the Puerto Ricans are kind of mixed up too, as well as Dominicans. Dominicans have a heavy African influence, and of course, you have Haiti right next door. But even Cubans have. If you look at some Cubans, you think maybe some Cubans are African. Well, there's a large influence of African culture, heritage, blood, if you will, in Cuba as well. And it really goes all throughout. There are some countries that are more heavily influenced with African blood than others. Brazil, another heavily influenced by black blood. Argentina and Venezuela, not so much. In fact, Venezuela is known as being the white Latino country, because Venezuelans tend to be very Caucasian looking. They're very, compared to the rest of the Latin world, Venezuelans and Argentinians, but mostly really Venezuelans tend to have a lighter complexion. Those are the people that you see, Venezuelans and Argentinians. Those are the ones that you normally see on TV as TV stars. They come from Venezuela and Argentina. They're not Brazilian, although there are some Brazilians who are white. Gisele Bündchen, Tom Brady's wife, she's a German Brazilian, basically, and there's a whole thing behind that. But so the Democrat Party has been co-opted by Muslims. Now, how do we know that? Because here's a report from The Hill. Democratic National Congress, or the DNC committee, boots candidate from chairmanship race for criticizing Ellison's Islamic faith. Yes, he criticized it. That's it. The Democratic National Committee is kicking a candidate out of the chairman's race after he told The Hill that Representative Keith Ellison, Democrat from Minnesota, by the way, should not be a part of the party's next leadership because he is Muslim. In a January 5th email to The Hill, Vincent Tolliver, Tolliver, a former House candidate in Arkansas, said that Ellison, the first ever Muslim elected to Congress, should not be chairman because of Islamic positions on homosexuality. And he's getting booted for this. Look, see, the Democrats, they are so confused and conflicted. See, they have to go out there and they have to try to be like they're the open-minded ones and the accepting ones, and they will do anything that looks like it's in opposition to the right and to the Republican Party. And if the Republicans are painted as being anti-Muslim, well, then the Democrats have got to be pro-Muslim. Forget the fact that their other constituency, very large constituency, is the LGBT, PDQ, XYZ community. Now, Islam, does not stand for the XY, PDQ, LBGT community at all. In fact, in Muslim majority countries where you have, terroristic type of ideas and the caliphate embedded in the government, they're throwing gay people off of the roofs of tall buildings. And if they don't, there was video about this too. You can see it. If they don't die when they hit the pavement below, you get the street crowd that, is egging on the people at the top of on the roof of the 10th floor of a 10-story building, throwing people off. And there's the person that they throw off, who they claim is a gay person, doesn't die, then the people on the ground, the crowd who's egging them on, will run over and stomp on their heads. I've seen the video. And so this Democrat, who's trying to be a good Democrat, a good liberal, who's very accepting of the LGBT community, points out, rightfully so, hey, look, this Ellison guy is a Muslim. He believes in Islam. And Islam, they kill gays. They hang them, behead them, throw them off buildings. We can't have this guy as being our chairman of the DNC. I mean, he's worse than a Republican. And the DNC basically boots him out of the chairman's race for this. Well, you can't say that. You can't. We're all about being open-minded. We're all about being accepting of other religions other than Christianity. You can't be against Islam, man. You can't be against a Muslim. Well, this House candidate, Vincent Tolliver, said his being a Muslim is precisely why DNC voters should not vote for him. Muslims discriminate against gays. Islamic law is clear on the subject, and being gay is a direct violation of it. In some Muslim countries, being gay is a crime punishable by death. He told the truth. And for telling the truth, what do the Democrats do? The Democrats throw him out of the race. So now he can't be the Democrat chair because they tossed him out. No, you're disqualified. You can't be our chairman because you're spreading lies about Islam. Islam is a really peaceful religion. They don't do terrorism. They don't kill gay people. He goes on to say, clearly, Mr. Ellison is not the person to lead the DNC or any other organization committed to not discriminating based on gender identity or sexual orientation. Tolliver continued, I'm shocked. Human Rights Campaign, HRC, has been silent on the issue. Well, of course they're going to be. Look, if this guy wanted to be the RNC chairman, the Democrats would be standing up, whooping and hollering, talking about how anti-Semitic and anti-gay, anti-LGBT this person is. If Ellison was a Republican, they'd be jumping down his throat. Don't doubt me on this, folks. This is all this is about. This is about partisan politics, and the Democrats are trying to play because they're out of power all over the country. And they think that the best way to get back into power is to play these partisan politics. But what they fail to realize is the American people are looking at them thinking, wait a minute, I thought you were a party of inclusion and of acceptance, and you're going to have as your chairman of your Democratic Party a person who believes in Sharia law, that believes in killing people based on their sexual orientation? How is that open-minded and accepting? Vincent Tolliver has got a point. Now, and for that, he's being punished. Vincent Tolliver from Arkansas is telling the truth, and for that, he's being punished. Democrats don't want the truth. They only want touchy-feely stuff. That's why when you say, well, it's not a Muslim ban. Well, they're banning Muslims from coming into the country. No, it's a temporary halt from 7 countries. That's it. The other 50-some countries, they can come and go as they please still. Well, it's still a Muslim ban then. Because only Muslims are being banned. Well, this is where the terrorists are coming from. Even Obama did it. But Obama did it for a much longer period of time. Trump was only talking about a 3 or 4 month halt, temporary halt. Obama did a 6-month halt. And Carter just did a flat-out ban with no time limit. But hey, because Trump is a Republican, that's all that counts to them. Nothing more. Otherwise, how the hell do you explain the two diametrically opposed parts of the Democrat Party? Islam and gays. They're not going to play nicely together.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said to me, I bet you won't lend me money to buy an electric guitar. Well, he was making $100 a week, and he was over 18, and I said, I bet you I will lend you money to buy an electric guitar. And I did. So what happens? The punk gets busted for possession of dangerous drugs, and we're out $350. There's one thing about kids nowadays. You don't have to give them credit.
Universal Bank. We trust you. About as far as we can throw you.
There's one thing you have to understand when it comes to liberals and Democrats. You can't make up this stuff when you're dealing with them. I don't know anybody else who would get rid of somebody for speaking the truth. And speaking the truth about, I mean, what are you gay people going to do? What is the LGBT community going to do if the DNC elects a Muslim to be the chairman? Now, understand they have to vote on this. What does that tell you? If you're a liberal LG, I can't imagine what, you know. I they have this notion that they talk about Christians being so mean and anti-gay, and they can't see how any gay person can be a Christian. Well, how can you be a Democrat if they have a Muslim as the chairman? Now, Christians aren't running around the globe beheading gay people and hanging them and throwing them off buildings. That's Islam. Just saying. So what are you going to do if that happens? What are you going to do if that's what happens? Well, I don't. I mean, and to think about it, really, Tolleson is being excommunicated basically from the Democrat Party for standing up for a large constituent of the Democrat Party. Is that not the only conclusion that one can logically come to? He's being excommunicated from the Democrat Party for sticking up for a large constituency of the Democrat Party, the part of the one of the constituencies that the Democrats claim that they have the exclusive hold of protecting. They have the exclusive right to protect the LGBTQ, PDQ, XYZ community, right? That's what they claim. Because Republicans don't care about gay people. Forget about the log cabin Republicans. They're just a bunch of gay wannabe straight guys over there. Kind of like the black Republicans, black conservatives. You're just a bunch of wannabes. You're sellouts. So that's the same with the log cabin Republicans. They're gay sellouts. That's. Speaking of gay, there is some interesting, because San Francisco's in the news, and not just because San Francisco wants to sue Donald Trump over the defunding of sanctuary cities, and California's got some really weird BS is going on there as a whole for a state. Wait till I get to that. I'm going to try to get to that. It's in the paper pile. But evidently, San Francisco is not as gay as everybody thinks. I'm serious, it's not. Now, everybody thinks it's and the United States as a whole is not as gay as everyone thinks. In other words, they've ran the numbers. And as far as it goes nationwide, those who self-identify as being part of the LGBT community, you know what the number is in this country is? It's not 10%. It's 4%. 4% of the population self-identifies as being LGBT. 4%. Now, that's all those other names thrown in there too. The trans and the bis and all that kind of stuff. And we were told that gay and lesbians alone equated 10% of the population. But they don't. The numbers are in. It's 4%. Now, you go out to San Francisco, yeah, there's a little bit of a concentration, but even San Francisco doesn't hit the 10% number. It's 6% of San Francisco's population self-identifies as LGBT. That's it. Now you're probably asking, well, why even bringing that up? Why is that important? Well, hold on to that thought, folks, because when we get back, we got the Intel report coming up right after the break as well with CS. So don't go anywhere. We'll get into it. Trust me.
America is America because it is so American. The children, they are the future of children, and she loves the children. Diversity is diverse when diversity is diversified. For a future you can see, for a future that brings with it all the hopes of tomorrow. By doing everything we did yesterday, we need a leader, we need a champion, we need her.
Not for me. It's enough now. Give me it. It's mine. I want it. Just give me it. I want it now.
Stop asking questions and just give it to her already. Or you're a sexist, racist.
Paid for by criminals and idiots for Hillary Clinton, because let's face it, you'd have to be one or the other to vote for this complete monster.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
The following letters were written by our troops.
My dear fellow Americans, I truly appreciate your support. I was starting to wonder if people had forgotten about us over here, but then one of my buddies showed me this website, and now as tears are streaming down my face, I can see for sure that you haven't. Private Emily B., U.S. Army.
It's so heartwarming to see the American people not letting the men and women of the armed forces be forgotten. Your letters make a group of grown men, battle-hardened and gruff, act like a bunch of kids around a Christmas tree. Thanks. Staff Sergeant Matthew H., U.S. Army.
Your support may be the most important thing our troops can carry with them. But don't take our word for it. Take theirs. To show your support, visit americasupportsyou.mil. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Defense and the Ad Council.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. We leave no warrior behind. Wounded Warrior Project is a non-profit organization created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war. Whether those scars are physical or mental, we're here to make sure that they heal. And whether it's helping those with post-traumatic stress disorder live a normal life again, or giving much-needed support to injured warriors in veterans' hospitals. Because no one deserves our help more than the men and women who risk their lives to keep us safe. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Were you born from 1945 to 1965? People born during these years are 5 times more likely to have hepatitis C. So even if you try to eat right, exercise, and take care of yourself, you could still have hepatitis C, a serious disease that's a leading cause of liver cancer. If you were born from 1945 to 65, you should get a blood test for hepatitis C. Treatments can cure this disease. Talk to your doctor about getting tested. A message from the CDC.
See that cute little dog in the pet store window? Chances are it came from a puppy mill.
a breeding facility that forces caged, neglected, and often sick dogs to churn out puppy after puppy to be sold for profit. Meanwhile, millions of wonderful, healthy pets end up in animal shelters. This leads to the killing of more than 9,000 by the end of today. But with one simple choice, you can help. Just by deciding to adopt instead of purchase your next pet. Animal shelters are full of amazing pets looking for a home. When you adopt your new best friend, not only are you saving a life, you're taking a stand against puppy mills. When your friends see the smart choice and impact you've made, they adopt their next pet and share with 5 of their friends, who share with 5 more. Before long, thousands get involved. Pet stores stop selling dogs from puppy mills, and even more lives are saved. And with your help, we can save them all. Visit bestfriends.org/puppymills to learn more.
Thousands of families affected by disasters, like the recent wildfires, urgently need support. You can help the American Red Cross provide warm meals, shelter, and hope to families when they need it most. Please donate today to Red Cross Disaster Relief to help people affected by disasters, big and small. Go to redcross.org or call 1-800-RED-CROSS today. Your support is critical. We can't do it without you.
You want to know what time it is? It's time to bring the rain.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Here it is, Hump Day, Wednesday, February. It is now February number 1 in the year of our Lord 2017 as we broadcast live from the Bunker Eyes studio. Welcome all of you liberty lovers and ecclesiastites all across the globe. Yes, it is I, your lovable host, El Rod, and the call-in number this February 1 morning is 603-835-3226. You can utilize that at any time during the program. Obviously, may I reiterate once again to any liberal out there who might be listening. This program is live from 9 a.m. to noon Eastern Time, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Pacific Time, and figure out whatever your time is for Central Mountain and all that kind of stuff. But there you go. If you call before or after, you're not going to get on the air because I'm not on the air. And I can't take people who say, well, I tried calling and you wouldn't answer, or you wouldn't put me on the air. Well, it's because you called when the show was not live, so I couldn't put you on the air. I don't know why I have to continue explain. Why do we have to explain stuff like that? I shouldn't even have to explain it. These people, maybe that is their whole goal, is to try to take logical people like myself and all of you listeners out there, most of you listeners, try to melt our brains by being so illogical that we have a short circuit. I think that's what they're trying to do. It's not going to work, but I think that's what they're trying to do, because that is the only logical explanation I can have. They're trying to overload our circuits with sheer ignorance, stupidity, and insanity that we have nothing that we won't be able to keep from, just short circuiting and breaking down and just giving up. That's not going to happen, though, so good luck with that. Keep trying. Hopefully, ladies and gentlemen, now we have a new theme song here. I'm going to try to make sure I play all the theme songs to the different segments that I like to bring forth to you. So here's our new theme song for our Intel Report. Does it sound like spy music to you? I mean, if I could, it probably cost me too much, but if I could get the James Bond theme, I'd play that. But anyway, it is now time for the Intel Report with Secret Service Agent CS. Or Secret Service Man. Or Secret Agent Man. Isn't that what it is? Secret Agent Man. Maybe that's what I'll play. Secret Agent Man. How you doing, CS?
I'm doing good, Rod. How are you?
Good. So what...
You want to hear something funny? When I was a kid, I actually used to watch, like, Simon Templar, Secret Agent. I used to watch all these TV shows, and my dad and I used to watch the Bond movies, you know, when they would come on TV. And little did I know what my life would become. It was pretty telling.
You were basically pre-studying for your adult life.
Yeah, but if it would have been as fun as it was on the TV shows, I'd probably still be in.
Now, wait a minute. Are you saying that being a real life spy, as it were, is nothing like, you know, Peter Gunn or James Bond or The Saint or anything like that? It's not all that exciting, and you don't get to drive all those fancy cars and have all those wonderful gadgets and live in those beautiful apartments?
Oh, hell no. Please. Yeah, I had a fancy car, but I had to pay for that damn thing myself out of my pocket.
All right. So there you go. So all you want to be James Bond people out there, it's not a glamorous life. So what did you got? What you got for us this week? I know there's a lot going on out there. And wait a minute. Let's back up a little bit. There's something that you said that you wanted to get off your chest, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, there is something I do want to get off my chest, and I apologize for jumping up on the soapbox, but let's put it like this, okay? So many people in this country are ranting and raving about this temporary pause of refugees and immigrants coming into the United States from 7 countries. Now, mind you, 5 out of that 7 are failed governments, completely and utter failures. The other 2, one being Syria, well, they're going through their hellstorm as it is. And the 7th one happens to be Iran, who happens to just happens to be the number 1 funder of terrorism globally. Everybody's ranting and raving about the pause of these 7 countries. Oh, these poor refugees. Then somebody stepped up and said, well, you know what? How about those that assisted us in the war on terror, the interpreters? These individuals, they helped us. They worked hard. And you know what? Absolutely true. These individuals not only deserve our respect, they deserve our gratitude. Because I've worked with, we call them Terps, short for interpreters. And I've worked with Terps. And they are as dedicated as any American who's downrange doing the work. But you know what? And this is where I'm really going to get angry. I have been trained to keep an even keel, to keep self-control. Because self-control allows me to think through a process and get out of any situation or put the pieces of the puzzle together. But not this time. There's one individual on this planet who's done more than any interpreter that has assisted us in either Afghanistan or Iraq put together. And that's Dr. Mohammed Rauf. This is the individual who went to that compound in Pakistan, knocked on the door, and confirmed that Osama bin Laden was in that building before Team 6 went in there. Now, the previous president, Barack Obama, oh, what did I do? I killed Osama bin Laden. No, you didn't. Team 6 did that. You just gave the green light, something that any moron would have, oh, he's definitely in there? Yes, he is. Oh, well, then, go get him. Any moron could have done that. But no, an individual who went there, confirmed that Osama bin Laden was in that compound, is now rotting in prison for the next 23 years. He not only sacrificed himself, but he put his family's lives on the line. And everybody's screaming and ranting and raving about, oh, poor refugees. Well, guess what? I do feel bad for them. But you know what? We need to know which ones to allow into this country and which ones not to allow in this country because of ulterior motives. But you forget about the man who sacrificed himself, his life, his family's lives, and oh yeah, the Pakistanis were so kind. They decreased the sentence from 33 years to 23 years. And if anybody knows anything about Pakistani prisons, that's a death sentence. He will die in prison for helping us. But yet everybody, oh, those poor 109 people, which most of them were then allowed into the United States. Most of them were just said, okay, you're good, go on in. Everything's okay. But yet you have a man who's taking credit for all the work and allows the man that actually pinpointed, the man that we've been looking for years, to rot in a prison. That's okay. In what book is what I want to know.
Well,
it's going to be difficult for us to get. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, CS, this is not has nothing about being really compassionate towards anybody. It has everything to do with basically just standing in opposition. Look, might I remind folks that Chuck Schumer et al. Has basically said, and it's not basically, they actually said it, that no matter what Donald Trump wants to do or who he proposes to do certain things, or no matter what type of thing that he's going to propose to have as a bill or a law, they're going to oppose him. So he can do exactly what Obama did, and they're still going to oppose him. And they're living up to their word because basically, am I not correct in assuming that Obama also had a temporary travel ban in effect in some of these same countries that Donald Trump is putting a temporary hold on? Well, of course he did. But there was no opposition there. There was no opposition from the right on that. So this is not, and you've had people from the right talking about this doctor. I mean, and understanding that if they didn't get him, he should have been whisked out of Pakistan the very day that SEAL Team 6 hit Osama bin Laden. He shouldn't have been there. He should have been gone. And yet they hemmed and hawed, and they tried to figure out, well, what are we going to do with him? Well, I don't know what we're going to do with him. We can't bring him here. If we bring him here, then that could be trouble. So we got to figure out what to do. And so while they were trying to figure out what to do with this poor guy, he was then picked up by the Pakistanis government. And, well, you can't help a foreign nation like the United States find somebody that we're trying to hide. Does anybody else remember that? And the Pakistanis knew where bin Laden was. They were hiding him. And this is why this doctor who found him is rotting in jail. Because we didn't get him out. Basically, Obama just said, okay, Pakistan, don't be mad at us now for coming on into your country without your permission and taking out this massive terrorist, leader of terrorism that we've been hunting for, that you've been hiding. Don't be mad at us for that. So we'll give this guy up for you. Make no mistake about it, this guy was given up as a peace offering. That's why we didn't protect him.
Well, I mean, think about this. Bo Bergdahl decides just to walk off the job. We send teams looking for him. Men were hurt. Men were killed looking for this idiot. But what do? We trade prisoners from Gitmo to get this one bonehead traitor back. Manning. Oh, well, Manning suffered enough. I mean, only 750,000 documents. Oh, 5 years? Okay. You've suffered enough. You can come out of prison now. Out of a 35-year sentence. Serve 5 years. That's okay. But we can't get back an individual who put everything, and when I mean everything, I mean not just his life, his family's life. Not just the wife and the kids, his mother, his father, his father-in-law, his mother-in-law, everybody in the cousins. His entire family was put on the line to help us. And then the Democrats say, oh, well, because of this ban, we're going to turn around and we're going to lose possible assets. No. If anybody knows more about having assets on the ground, it's individuals that work at the agencies. And by turning your back on one asset as important as he was, do you really think anybody else is going to volunteer? Because they know that once everything gets hot, they're going to get left behind. And you're going to blame a ban, a pause on immigration, on people possibly not wanting to help us? No. Leaving them behind to rot in prison in a death sentence is what's going to prevent them from wanting to help us. Because there is no motivation. There is no drive there. They know they're going to be left. This whole thing about no man left behind. Well, guess what? We forgot one. One got left behind. So I don't want to hear this nonsense about all this pause is going to do irreparable damage. No, you keep saying it's going to do irreparable damage. Think about this. What if, just by a crazy hapstance, a bunch of people say, well, you know what? I do want to go to the United States. I want to live there. I want to immigrate there. But I'm not going to be able to do that if I hang out with these chuckleheads over here who are running around and beheading people and causing all kinds of chaos. So I'm just going to stay away from them. I'm going to make myself known, very well known, that I do not associate with them. So therefore, I'm going to keep away from them. I'm going to keep a clean record. So no matter what I say, when they investigate, they will see that I am telling the truth. So I will keep away from that because I want to go to the United States, or I want to go to England, or I want to go to France, but I want to do it properly, and I don't want to have any suspicion on me for the rest of my life for the possibility of colluding with these animals. Nobody sees it that way, especially the press. The press turns around and gobbles up everything that the left is throwing at them. It's like pigs at the trough. That's how the press are conducting themselves when it comes to anything and everything that the left is just spilling in the trough for them. And it's disgusting and humiliating to watch. Because this is the people that watch out for the American people. Yeah, you know what? The press forgot about the doctor. Dr. Raouf is rotting in a prison, and the press has completely forgotten about him. He's going to die in prison if something does not happen. And God knows what's going to happen to his family. In fact, I don't even want to think about it because it's pretty horrible. And I'm not going to say it on the radio because you'll probably get shut down if I actually describe what would happen to his family. So therefore, do you want to talk about the refugees? Do you want to talk about immigration? Do you want to talk about giving green cards to those that help us downrange? Here's a perfect person that you can help. And I don't mean you as in Rod Eccles. I mean you as in the American people and the politicians and the press. That's a perfect example of whom I'm talking about. Because while former President Barack Obama is running around saying, I killed bin Laden, you know what? Call him out on that one. If you did, why ain't you helping this guy? Oh, yeah, he might make you look bad. Okay, I'm done.
Okay. Well, hey, everybody else, people get a chance to spout off and go nuclear, not just me on this program. And I fully understand your frustration with this thing. We knew that this was happening. We knew that this was a trade-off. And I think that this guy actually realized when we weren't getting him out of harm's way. I think he realized then that he had been given up as a peace offering. And I think there are a lot of people that were also working with the American government and the Western governments who all of a sudden stopped because they saw what happened to this guy. So this whole notion that we're going to create more enemies by banning them from coming into can somebody please honestly tell me how liberal math works? You keep terrorists from coming into the country. By doing that, you're making the country less safe because now they're going to get so mad that you're not letting them come into the country to kill you, that they're going to get so mad that they're going to be able to use that as a recruitment tool to hire and recruit more terrorists, but those terrorists can't get in the country either. but we're still going to be less safe because there's going to be more terrorists out there. And there's only more terrorists simply because we wouldn't let the other terrorists get into the country legally. I don't know how that works in anybody's head. But in any case, CS, thank you so much, and I'm glad you were able to get that off your chest. We got to run to a break right now, but we will be back. And next week, we're going to get back into our intel session, yes?
Definitely.
All right, thanks, CS. We'll be right back, folks. Don't go anywhere.
Thank you.
You're listening to the Rod Eccles Show, the coolest, most politically incorrect, conservative black man on the planet.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said to me, I bet you won't lend me money to buy an electric guitar. Well, he was making $100 a week, and he was over 18, and I said, I bet you I will lend you money to buy an electric guitar. And I did. So what happens? The punk gets busted for possession of dangerous drugs, and we're out $350. There's one thing about kids nowadays. You don't have to give them credit.
Universal Bank. We trust you. About as far as we can throw you.
603-835-3226. Hey, one thing that you have to understand is that these people on the left, and just I know we can give them acronyms, call them liberals and leftists and moonbats and crazies and zombies and snowflakes and all that kind of stuff. But the reality is that these people over the past 50 years have not done anything to really help America. They've been helping themselves. And if they didn't get their way, then all they would do was try to stand in your way. They wouldn't try to help you or improve whatever idea that you had. If it was an idea that they didn't like, they were just going to stay in it. Or if it was an idea that one of their own did not come forth with, they were going to stand in your way. It didn't matter, how badly or how much of a hypocrite they look like. And trust me, Chuck Schumer knows that the Democrats look like giant hypocrites right now, but they do not care. They don't care. They know what Obama did. They know what Carter did. They know what FDR did. But they don't care. They're more interested in trying to regain their power and their prestige, and they don't give a rip about your safety or your well-being. Don't doubt me.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please call or go online right now.
I'm not Rod Eccles, and I approve this message.
(603-835-3226) is the number. You know, one of the things that you have to understand about the left is that they do not really care about anyone or anything but themselves and their own self-interest. They don't. How else do you explain, Lucy, having a potential DNC chair who's a Muslim when a very large constituency of yours is gay and doesn't sit well with Islam? I mean, that would be, well, I mean, the Democrat Party is the home of the KKK, but that would be like having a grand Cyclops, grand poobah, whatever, eyeball, whatever they want to call him at the KKK, running for the DNC chair, and somebody who's African American decides to tell them that they're all about, lynching people. And then the black guy gets kicked out because there's no, you can't mesh the two together. It doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't. Well, we have Dom on the line. Dom, my friend, how are you?
What is going on, Rod? I don't mean to backtrack your show a little bit, but I was inspired by CS, and I got to get some stuff off my chest. First of all, Nancy Pelosi and her obstructionist policies. Nancy, you're about as attractive as a bloody nose. Let's just get that out of the way. Second, next time you're going to do an all-female march and you want to showcase femininity, dress them up like Chuck Schumer, because that's about the most feminine guy I'm ever going to meet. I am so sick of this. I'm so sick of, we are tired of losing power. When people aren't responding to your message, change your message. Don't double down on it.
Well, it's who they are. They can't change. The tiger can't obviously change its stripes, right? Or a leopard can't change its spots. Mm-hmm. So these people can't change their message because they don't really have one. See, this is the other misnomer about the left. They don't really have a cohesive message because it's all about each individual. It's all about them. It isn't about it. See, the right has a message because it's all about other people. It's all about the collective. It's all about society. It's all about what's best for everyone or the vast majority of us. The left doesn't have that. It's all about what's best for them individually. Not what's best for the vast majority of people in their community. It's what's best for them. So they can't go out there and say anything but what they're saying and doing right now.
A couple things real quick before you let me go. One of my best friends for 20 years was gay, and we stopped talking. He basically blocked me on all social media because I told him, I said, look, the left will abandon you for the new pet. I said, don't you believe it? And they got mad at me. Who's right now? Look at the Ellison thing. When was the last time a Republican got booted from anything for standing up for gay people? That is the question to ask right there.
Well, as a matter of fact, the Republican Log Cabin group, they were the ones that got the Don't Ask, Don't Tell booted out of little American lexicon. Wasn't any Democrats. I thought the Democrats were all behind protecting gay people. So why did the Democrats not lead the charge? And then once the Republican Log Cabin did lead the charge and did get a court to toss it out, why did it take their guy Obama a year to get rid of it? After the court said, no, that's unconstitutional, you can't do that, you got to get rid of it. Why did it take Obama still a year to get rid of it? And you folks on the left, you gays, still think that they're standing behind you, and now they just booted somebody from the race of being DNC chair who just stood up and told the truth and say, look, they want this guy here, Ellison, who's a Muslim, who stands behind the Quran and Islam that is anti-gay. And we're part of our biggest constituency is the LGBT community. And this guy, Tollerson, is trying to stand up for his gay constituency, and they booted him out for it. So you're absolutely correct. You know, the new pet. And this is the same thing that happened to African Americans. Blacks in this country got pushed aside too. Yeah, you know, we got your attention. We've got you voting for us. You know, more than 80% of you vote for us. You know, all the time. So we don't got to pay attention to you anymore. So they get shoved aside. And now gay people are getting shoved aside. And actually, the whole thing is coming back. It's kind of circular for these people. Philadelphia. You know, I brought this to you last week about Philly. You know, the problem in Philadelphia now in the gay community, but a bunch of uppity liberal gay men are being accused of they're having racial issues in the gay community in Philadelphia. Why? Because the white gays don't like the black gays. And they don't like the Latino gays. So you got racist gays in Philly. I don't I don't get it. Anyway, thank you so much for your call, Dom. You brought up some very A1 points there. But it just they'll never learn. They'll never learn because the rank and file liberal Democrats are too blind by their own self-hatred in order to pay attention to the leadership liberals who are only in it for themselves, not for the rank and file. They're not in it for the rank and file liberal. They're only in it for themselves. And the rank and file members are just too damn blind to see the reality. Well, maybe it's because they don't want to see it. And they don't want to know the truth. And the truth is that San Francisco is another example. You know, we're led to believe that San Francisco is this gay utopia. That, you know, San Francisco is so gay, it must be, 50% of the population must be gay in San Francisco. No, it's not the case. In fact, they took the poll that they did from mid-2012 to December of last year. They found out that the top three biggest populations or highest percentage population of gays in this country is San Francisco, followed by Portland, Oregon, and Austin, Texas, which is why Governor Abbott in Texas is having such a big issue with Austin. But you would think that San Francisco would be at least 10 or 15% of the population would be gay. But no. The San Francisco, Oakland, Haywood area, over 374,000 people across the country were polled. In San Francisco, the San Francisco area, they found out the Bay Area, that only 6.2% of that area's population self-identifies as LGBT, lesbian, gay, bisexual, or transgender. By the way, when this whole nonsense started with these letters, it was just the LGBT community. It was lesbian, gay, and bisexual. And I remember them having an issue with adding the B, the bisexual, because the gay community kept saying there's no such thing as bisexuality. Either you're straight or you're gay. And if you went both ways, you were gay. Well, evidently there are a number of people that like to swing both ways. And they took offense to that. So it became the LGB. And then, of course, you had to add the transgender because they didn't want to, I'm just a sweet transvestite. That's when transvestite was no longer used, and it had to be transgender because transvestite was the equivalent of the N-word, I guess, to blacks. So, but in order for a very, very small, what is it? Less than 1% is transgender. I mean, so it's this extreme minority. There are probably more in the whole lexicon and understanding of how all this works. Of the LGB part, there are probably more bisexuals than gays and lesbians. But we're not. That's a dirty little secret we're not supposed to know about. But they didn't originally want them a part of this lexicon because they weren't following the standard that they were setting up. So then they had to add the transgender because, hey, you gotta be able to tell people about, this is a special, we're a unique group here, we trannies. And then I guess you can't even say that anymore. So now it's just transgender. You can't say tranny. It's not transsexual. It's not transvestite. It's transgendered, I guess is the proper term. So that's the T. And then people said, well, wait a minute. We don't want to be, if you're going to label us, I don't want to be labeled one of those labels because I don't identify with one of those labels. So they started self-identifying as queer. Now, I still to this day don't know what queer is. Because I always thought queer meant, lesbian or gay. Or could, very feministic, a gay. But no, I guess that's not what queer is. So queer is its own sexual orientation, I guess. So they had to add the Q. And then some people, they had to cover their CYA on this as well because they were talking about, everybody's born a certain way. You're born gay. Well, in order to bring this about, that means that when you're growing up and you're going through adolescence and your teenage, your preteen and teenage years, all these kids they're questioning. They're not sure who they are, what they are. They're trying to come to grips with how they were born. They're questioning everything around them. So now we have to have questioning. So now you have the LGBTQQ. And are the asexuals thrown in there now too? I think it's I don't even know how you pronounce it anymore. Is it I think it's LGBTQQA. A. I think there's was it P? Yeah, P. It would have to be P. Because it would be asexual for the A, and the P is polyamorous. And of course they're going to be adding others to that. So you can't keep up with this mess, folks. It's cultural rot. It's full-on cultural decay. Now, I'm not being anti-LGBTQAPXYZ. Not at all. I'm being factual and honest. It's one thing to say that, to go with the original LGB, but it's a whole other, who's next? Who are you going to add in there next? You're gonna add in these boy lover pedophiles from NAMBLA? The Man Boy Love Association. You're gonna add them to the mix? Oh, why not? Because they do that in places like Pakistan and Afghanistan. They're the bocce boys, is otherwise known as dancing boys. I've seen a few documentaries on it, and it turns my stomach. They kidnap boys. Usually before they hit teenage years. Usually before they turn 12 or 13, they kidnap these kids and they say, "Well, we're going to give this kid," because parents say, "Well, we can't fight them, and they're going to give him a good life anyway," which is a bunch of BS. And they turn these kids into little sissy boys by dressing them up as girls, putting makeup on them, teaching them how to dance provocatively in order to entice good, solid Muslim men, supposedly. into buying them sexual favors, disgusting sexual favors. And the other part is if you're an extraordinary, well, according to them, if you're an extraordinarily good-looking teenage boy, they will kidnap you as well. But they usually try to get them young. But if you're 14 or 15 or 16 years old and they missed you before, I mean, there are parents in Afghanistan that have what they would consider to be very good-looking teenage boys, and they don't let them out of their sight. It's just plain. It's not disheartening. It's just disgusting. It's cultural rot. Just plain cultural rot. And this is what these liberals want to have happen here. They claim they don't, but that's just what they say. Remember, folks, I don't hear what people say. I'm of the old-fashioned notion, what you do speaks so loudly that I cannot hear what you say. That's an actual fact. That is the absolute truth. So when you want to know what liberals are really about, look at what they do, not what they say, because what they do is the truth.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said to me, I bet you won't lend me money to buy an electric guitar. Well, he was making $100 a week, and he was over 18, and I said, I bet you I will lend you money to buy an electric guitar. And I did. So what happens? The punk gets busted for possession of dangerous drugs, and we're out $350. There's one thing about kids nowadays. You don't have to give them credit.
Universal Bank. We trust you. About as far as we can throw you.
Yes, we'll get into the Trump's Supreme Court pick at the top of the hour. But there's something here that folks might find a little bit disconcerting and objectionable, because there's a growing movement out there. Well, at least it's in Europe, and if it's in Europe, it's a growing movement in Europe. It's going to come here, But the question is how is it going to work if nobody's working? But I know I'm getting ahead of myself. That you can't really think that way. They don't think that far ahead. The left, I know. But there is this notion for a universal minimum income, one income for all, basically. It's a utopian idea that a lot of people are starting to say, well, it might be time that we think about this now. It's a utopian idea, it really is. Basically, it's involving it's enjoying. This fell out of favor a while. This is not the first time they thought of this. This is nothing new here. But it's even though politicians, globalist type of politicians are falling out of favor, this one utopian idea is enjoying a renaissance, and because there are policy wonks and political parties and people from multiple sides of the political aisle are trying to grapple with technology and how this new technology is driving changes. And these changes could define our very way of life and our very understanding of what work is and how we all work. If robots and machine intelligence threaten to render many white-collar jobs obsolete, then what will people do for money? In other words, if robotics and AI gets to the point where as devastating the white-collar part of business as robots have done to the blue-collar side of industry, then people will start to wonder, well, hey, yeah, sure, my job at the auto factory is replaced by a robot, but I could go back to school and I can get a white-collar job now and make, just as much or even more money. But if a robot takes that job, what are we going to do for money? So enter this concept of universal basic income. Basically, how it works is it's a flat sum paid to all regardless of your existing wealth or ability to work. It is one of the rare ideas that gets support from both the libertarian right and the left-leaning big welfare state left, which I've been trying to tell you people that the libertarian right has slid over somehow to the left. They're not righties anymore. I don't know what the hell happened to libertarians. They got co-opted by a bunch of anarchists is what happened. And these anarchists aren't for small government, actually. They're actually for very basic liberal ideals, which would require larger government. Now, I know libertarians favor tearing up the welfare state, but what do you think a single income or basic income is for everybody? It's a type of welfare state, and libertarians are behind this. Whatever happened, you go out there and live off the grid, but that means if you live off the grid, you're going to get a minimum. Somebody else is going to pay you a minimum salary for you. I don't know how that becomes fair, or how that isn't big government. But understand that if it's across the pond right now, it will not be too long before you start hearing about it and seeing the Democrat Party in this country start talking about a fair, flat wage. Not a living minimum wage, but a fair, flat income wage for everybody. Folks, don't doubt me on this. Do not doubt me.
Have you ever thought to yourself, I'm a leftist elite Hollywood a-hole? If so, good news. The Rod Eccles Hollywood Community College is now open, featuring such courses as unemployment is not paid vacation. No, Americans don't want to spend $19 for an order of French fries, and the ever popular shut the hell up. Why, just listen to this big-time celebrity endorsement.
I'm not Rosie O'Donnell, and I think this school's offensive, sexist, and racist.
And I think you're a giant a-hole who needs to shut the hell up. Hey, we teach a course in that. the Rod Eccles Hollywood Community College, where being an A-hole is not a guarantee you'll be an A student.
The following program is recommended for mature individuals and may contain material unsuitable for morons, cretins, and dishwipes. If you are a moron or a member of the PTL Club, please turn off your radio, because we don't need any more stupid, narrow-minded, pencil-neck geeks who wouldn't know the First Amendment if it came up and bit them on the butt. Thank you.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
The following letters were written by our troops.
My dear fellow Americans, I truly appreciate your support. I was starting to wonder if people had forgotten about us over here, but then one of my buddies showed me this website, and now as tears are streaming down my face, I can see for sure that you haven't. Private Emily B., U.S. Army.
It's so heartwarming to see the American people not letting the men and women of the armed forces be forgotten. Your letters make a group of grown men, battle-hardened and gruff, act like a bunch of kids around a Christmas tree. Thanks. Staff Sergeant Matthew H., U.S. Army.
Your support may be the most important thing our troops can carry with them. But don't take our word for it. Take theirs. To show your support, visit americasupportsyou.mil. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Defense and the Ad Council.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. We leave no warrior behind. Wounded Warrior Project is a non-profit organization created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war. Whether those scars are physical or mental, we're here to make sure that they heal. And whether it's helping those with post-traumatic stress disorder live a normal life again, or giving much-needed support to injured warriors in veterans' hospitals. Because no one deserves our help more than the men and women who risk their lives to keep us safe. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Were you born from 1945 to 1965? People born during these years are 5 times more likely to have hepatitis C. So even if you try to eat right, exercise, and take care of yourself, you could still have hepatitis C, a serious disease that's a leading cause of liver cancer. If you were born from 1945 to 65, you should get a blood test for hepatitis C. Treatments can cure this disease. Talk to your doctor about getting tested. A message from the CDC.
See that cute little dog in the pet store window? Chances are it came from a puppy mill, a breeding facility that forces caged, neglected, and often sick dogs to churn out puppy after puppy to be sold for profit. Meanwhile, millions of wonderful, healthy pets end up in animal shelters. This leads to the killing of more than 9,000 by the end of today. But with one simple choice, you can help. Just by deciding to adopt instead of purchase your next pet. Animal shelters are full of amazing pets looking for a home. When you adopt your new best friend, not only are you saving a life, you're taking a stand against puppy mills. When your friends see the smart choice and impact you've made, they adopt their next pet and share with 5 of their friends, who share with 5 more. Before long, thousands get involved. Pet stores stop selling dogs from puppy mills, and even more lives are saved. And with your help, we can save them all. Visit bestfriends.org/puppymills to learn more.
Thousands of families affected by disasters, like the recent wildfires, urgently need support. You can help the American Red Cross provide warm meals, shelter, and hope to families when they need it most. Please donate today to Red Cross Disaster Relief to help people affected by disasters, big and small. Go to redcross.org or call 1-800-RED-CROSS today. Your support is critical. We can't do it without you.
You want to know what time it is? It's time to bring the rain.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Hour number 3 here on the Rod Eccles Show. I am, of course, your lovable host, Elrod, coming to you live once again from the Bunkerized studio, somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire, where the state motto is live free or die. It is not big government or bust. Here it is on Wednesday, Hump Day, February number 1 in the year of our Lord 2017. The call-in number is 603-835-3226. Well, need to do a little bit of clarifying, if you will, like butter. Clarify the butter about Starbucks. Now, everybody, including me, is jumping on the anti-Starbucks bandwagon. Now, I've been on the anti-Starbucks bandwagon, war wagon, for a while now. But especially since Starbucks has come out and said that, it over the next 5 years, it wants to hire 10,000 refugees. And of course, everybody talks about, well, why don't they say 10,000 veterans or 10,000 poor people like blacks and Latinos and so on and so forth. Well, the truth is that that Starbucks did try to get out of a pickle that it was in, about five years ago or so. When they were taking a stance that made it appear that Starbucks management was pretty much anti-military. And trust me, folks, they really are. Don't think that they're not. So they pledged to hire over the next 10 years or something, like 5, 7, whatever the amount of time was back then, to hire 10,000 vets. They have this magic number of 10,000. Anybody know? I want to know if anybody notices that. Because they pledged that they were going to hire 10,000 veterans. And then a few years after that, they pledged, well, since we're moving into, mostly because of Magic Johnson, the basketball star who put Starbucks in urban areas, they saw the success that they could make money from urban communities that were mainly black and Latino, mainly brown people. And if you actually go into some of these, now I'm not talking about Magic Johnson's. I think he sold off his Starbucks interest anyway in those. But if you go into some of these urban centers where Starbucks is, Starbucks urban stores, you know that it's the employees are populated mostly by white people. I'm just saying. I've been into urban Starbucks in the middle of a black community, and most of the employees in there are white. So Starbucks claimed that they were going to, over that same period of time, hire 10,000 poor and minority people. And now they're claiming that they're going to hire, 10,000 refugees. Well, how are you going to, are you going to open that many stores all over the place where you're going to hire at a minimum over the next few years a total of 30,000 people? Think about it. They keep telling us they're going to hire 10,000 people of this type of person and 10,000 of this type of person. Well, again, I ask, if you've got 10,000 more new positions that you're going to be opening up to hire, why are you not spreading those out among veterans and blacks and Latinos? I'll tell you why, because Starbucks is nothing more than a liberal bastion. Whichever way the political winds are blowing, whichever makes other people feel good about going to Starbucks is what Starbucks is going to do. So everybody on the left is against Donald Trump's, supposed Muslim ban, which is not a Muslim ban. It's a temporary immigration halt from 7 countries. That's it. So Starbucks is like, well, geez, we're going to jump on the bandwagon and say we're going to hire 10,000 refugees. Well, refugees from where? You're going to hire Muslim refugees, or are you going to hire, from Syria? Are you going to hire because refugees come from all over the place. How about Cuban refugees? Going to hire any of them? How about Ukrainian how about Crimea in Ukraine refugees? And after the Russians went in there, are you going to hire any of them? So don't fall for this notion they have this epic response to, well, we pledge to hire 10,000 veterans, and we pledge to hire 10,000 black and brown people, and we pledge to hire, that's why we can pledge to hire 10,000 refugees. No, it's a bunch of bullshit. Don't fall for it. It's whatever, they know that they've been caught in something, so they're going to try to make everybody else feel good about what they've been caught doing. Hey, we want to be anti-military? No, we're not anti-military. Look, we're hire veterans. You're still anti-military. Sorry, you can't fool me, even though you're hiring these people. And these people are taking the job because they need a freaking job. And the economy was so damn bad under Obama that a lot of veterans and people who otherwise wouldn't even have looked at Starbucks or anything like a Starbucks that acted like Starbucks, they needed a job. So they had to go and get the job. Plain and simple. So if you go into an urban center that is populated mostly by black and brown people, then I expect that your employees in your store will be mostly the neighborhood people, black and brown. And I got to tell you, I was a little shocked, not upset, but just shocked that after all that hoopla that they were going to do this and they were going to hire 10,000 this and 10,000 that, and I walk into an area or a store that should have been, what they claimed that they were going to do, and it was just the opposite. I'm telling you, I don't think I will never, unless they get new management, and Schultz is expected to leave his post as CEO of Starbucks, I think in April. So unless they really get some different management and do an about face from this ultra liberal crap, I will not be buying any more Starbucks anything. Not until they change that. And this is not a boycott. It's just me deciding to spend my money and support businesses that believe in the same cause as I do. Doesn't have to be a boycott. Don't do the boycott thing. Boycotts don't work. Just choose to spend your money someplace else that supports what you support. There are other coffee shops. Boycotting would mean you just don't want to buy coffee. You're not going to buy coffee. No, don't bother doing that. And don't try to get other people to do. You know what you do? You give them you give them a positive alternative. You tell your friends and your family, say, hey, look, I found this great coffee shop. Coffee is awesome. Just as good or better than Starbucks coffee. It's cheaper than Starbucks. And it's supporting a local businessman. Because most, I know that there are a few giant coffee chains, but most coffee is on a local level is sipped from a local barrister. I mean, find a local coffee shop. When I lived in Keene, there was a place called Brewbaker. I love Brewbakers. It was a little hole-in-the-wall coffee shop, typical coffee. Great, awesome cappuccino. And they used to have these giant, absolutely delectable homemade cinnamon rolls or cinnamon buns. I mean, they were literally saucer plate size. They were literally that big. But they put them on a saucer plate, and it covered the whole damn saucer plate. And that with a cappuccino, and you sit in the free Wi-Fi before free Wi-Fi was really all the rage. Yeah, you could sit there for an hour or two on your laptop and drinking a couple of. I'd have a couple of cappuccinos to go along with it because those cinnamon buns took at least 2 cappuccinos. It did. It was awesome coffee. And awesome cinnamon. So there are places like that. Now Keene is not a big city. It's 23,000 people. So there are places like that just about everywhere. You don't need to go into Starbucks. And I understand when people say that Dunkin' Donuts is kind of weak coffee. That's why Dunkin' Donuts came up with that dark roast. And I happen to like the dark roast Dunkin'. I think the dark roast is very good. It's very Starbucks-esque, dark, rich coffee. I love coffee. I'm not one of those coffee snobs or coffee connoisseurs. I couldn't tell you an Arabica bean from a Colombian bean, but I could tell you, if I like the coffee or not. And if it's a dark roast, that means that it's got a lot of flavor. And I drink coffee black. I don't add milk, cream, sugar, flavors, or anything else into it except when I drink a cappuccino. And even when I have an iced coffee, the cold stuff, I tend not to put sugar in. I just add a little cream, a little milk. That's about it. But that's because I like coffee. But I don't drink iced coffee in the middle of winter. I don't know why people do that. I can't do that. It's too damn cold out there around here for iced coffee. But people drink iced coffee. Like today, you see, it's like 25 degrees out there. We just had some snow last night, so it looks absolutely gorgeous out there again. And the sun's out. But pick something different. Don't boycott a business. Just change where you're doing business. That's all. Because boycotts don't work. Because they don't find an alternative, and people say, the hell, this boycott isn't working. So I'm just going to go back. No, find an alternative. That'll do it for you. That'll do it. So Democrats, by the way, are, Starbucks is the bastion location, is the bastion of the left. That's where you want to. But it's really kind of strange because the left has this love-hate relationship with Starbucks. Starbucks always seems to be one of the first storefronts that gets destroyed in a riot, in a snowflake riot. Have you noticed that? Starbucks even tried to get smart by removing tables and chairs. They did that in D.C. during the inauguration time. They removed the D.C. area Starbucks removed tables and chairs and a lot of goods from the front of their store. And yet there was still a couple of stores that still got trashed, but they know their own customers are out to get them. And yet they're still supporting their... You can't make this stuff up, folks. Sorry you can't. But anyway. The Justice, Gorsuch is the pick for President Donald J. Trump for the Supreme Court, the open Antonin Scalia seat. And the left, of course, is having a hissy fit over this. And this is not just got to be fair and got to be frank about this. Got to be honest. This is really not a never Trump or anti-Trump opposition to Gorsuch. It's not. They're going to try to tell you it is, because it's Donald Trump. We're alarmed by Donald Trump. No. They would be this adamant at opposing this guy if any president nominated him. Even if Obama nominated him, they'd be highly against this guy. Why? Because this guy is a proven. Now, I can't say that he's actually going to be this way for the rest of his life on the Supreme Court bench if he gets confirmed. But this guy has been a proven constitutionalist, originalist constitutionalist, much like in the vein of an Antonin Scalia. And that's exactly who the left cannot stand or have on the bench. They can't put an originalist, a constitutionalist on the bench. They've got to get somebody who's willing to legislate from the bench, who's willing to be a social warrior on the bench. They can't have a strict constructionist, originalist on the bench. That is the main reason they're going to oppose this guy with every fiber of their being. Not because he was, well, I mean, it doesn't help that Trump is the president that nominated him. But let me tell you, it could have been any president, including Obama. This is one guy. This is anybody like Gorsuch, anybody like him would automatically get just about every single Democrat up in a tither. He'd get this nomination has got their panties in a bunch. For a good reason. Because, Gorsuch, if he gets confirmed, because his history has shown that he actually does interpret the Constitution as it was written, not as some on the left would like it to be. He's an originalist. He's a strict constitutional constructionist. He doesn't believe it's a living, breathing document. He believes it says what it says, means what it means, and it's not all that complicated. And the left doesn't like that at all.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but But now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said to me, I bet you won't lend me money to buy an electric guitar. Well, he was making $100 a week, and he was over 18, and I said, I bet you I will lend you money to buy an electric guitar. And I did. So what happens? The punk gets busted for possession of dangerous drugs, and we're out $350. There's one thing about kids nowadays. You don't have to give them credit.
Universal Bank. We trust you. About as far as we can throw you.
The New York Times has a piece about Justice Gorsuch and the nomination, and they're calling it the nomination for the stolen seat. Yes, that's right. Neil Gorsuch, the nominee for the stolen seat. Now, understand that I'm going to read you excerpts from this, and understand that the New York Times, it was looking for a more moderate judge. They weren't looking for a judge that was going to interpret the Constitution. Oh, no. They were looking for a judge that was going to find in favor of anti-Constitution things like unions, the environment, so on and so forth. Oh, yeah, it's right here. Trump had a great opportunity. This is what they write. President Trump had a great opportunity to repair some of the damage. They call the damage by the Senate, Republican Senate, not taking up the nominee of Obama. So they had a chance, according to the New York Times op-ed piece, that they could repair some of the damage by nominating a moderate candidate for the vacancy, which was created when Justice Antonin Scalia died last February. Instead, he chose Neil Gorsuch, a very conservative judge from the Federal Court of Appeals for the 10th Circuit, whose jurisprudence and writing style are often compared to that of Justice Scalia. If Judge Gorsuch is confirmed, the court will once again have a majority of justices appointed by Republican presidents. Well, considering that there is only 9 justices, there is going to be a point in time where one or the other party is going to have the majority of nominated justices. I mean, this is ridiculous that they're comparing this. But Republican presidents, as it has for nearly half a century, for starters, that spells big trouble for public sector labor unions, environmental regulations, and women's access to contraception. Nothing in there about the Constitution. Did you notice that? Nothing in there from the New York Times about the Constitution. Oh, they're worried about the public sector labor unions. In other words, not the private sector, but the public sector, meaning government labor unions. Not your local UAW at your automotive plant, but government labor unions like the teachers union, the NEA. That's what they're worried about. Worried about environmental regulations that are putting people out of work, by the way, and hijacking private property rights from private property owners. Oh, no. That, again, they're not worried about the Constitution. They're worried about losing power. Women's access to contraception. They're not worried about that. They know that women are not going to lose access to contraception. What they're talking about is abortion on demand. That's what they're worried about. Contraception Access to contraception means, you can get the IED, whatever they call it, stuck in your arm, or you could buy the vaginal creams that destroy sperm, or you buy the bridges or the blocks or the pill or what have you. Yeah, they'll also continue to have the access to that. What they're talking about is abortion on demand. In normal times, Judge Gorsuch, a widely respected and at 49 relatively young judge with a reliably conservative voting record, would be an obvious choice for a Republic. So this is not normal? This is not a normal time? This is... we are in extraordinary times, folks, because Donald Trump is president, but any other Republican president who could have nominated Gorsuch, and that would have been fine, but it wouldn't have been fine because they would have still, on the left, have been talking about a stolen seat. And, and it's not fair. It's not fair. It's not fair. Nothing about the Constitution, though. Very telling.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please, call or go online right now.
Bring the rain.
And there's a sick people out there still talking about you don't have to be a Muslim in order to be a sick person when you're talking about using children for various forms of gratification, especially sexual gratification. Now, look, I know in this day and age that there have been a number of people that have been, and mostly men have been ensnared with when it comes to women, but also there's been a lot of ladies that have been trapped by boys, because they can appear older online, and there's no way for you to check IDs online, and they do certain things online without. This is why you can't have sexual conversations online. You just can't do it because you don't know who's on the other end. And people have been trapped by this, and some of them, not most, but some, you can see how they were fooled into believing that this particular person that on the other end that they were talking to was older, at least of legal age, and they're getting snared by planning to meet and have a sexual encounter with an underage child, statutory rape types of things, and it's not a lot. Most of these people know what they're doing, and they know. But there are times when people do get tricked and they don't know. There have been times when guys have gone home with a girl from a bar. They're drinking in the bar, and they're being tagged as being a pedophile because the girl was underage, like 16 or 17. Now, if you're a horn dog guy who's in his mid-20s, you go to a bar, you see a pretty woman, you think is a woman, drinking an alcoholic beverage in a bar, would you have any idea that they would be under 18? No, because you would think that, well, they're in a bar drinking, so they got to be at least 21, which means somebody's already checked their ID. So you would think that they would be safe. But nope. There have been some guys who've been, and you can say, well, you would know. I would do it. No, there are some underage girls that look like they're legal drinking age, and the makeup thing can really look what they did to little girls like Jean Benet and that whole genre of little girl pageants. A lot of those girls look a lot older than they, and most of them are like, what are they, 5, 6, and 7? They're all under 10. And most of them look like they're teenagers. They're midgets, the way they have them made up. So don't tell me it's not possible for somebody to get into a bar and not look older than they are. Especially when you get the lights down low, the bars have dimmer lights and people drinking alcohol, and a little judgment gets a little bit questionable. And so it happens. It's not often, it's rare, I know, but it does happen. So you do have to take that kind of stuff into consideration when you're talking about stuff like this when it involves prominent people. But then again, we also know that there are prominent people like Jared from the Subway commercials who are just sick individuals. They knew better. They knew exactly what they were doing. They weren't being tricked by an underage girl into making them think that they were older. They just got caught doing something very disgusting, very sick, very evil. And they deserve what they got. Well, there's another person here that's a Democrat who now might be facing the same types of things that Jared faced. Prosecutors, this is from the Wall Street Journal, prosecutors are weighing child pornography charges against Anthony Weiner. The former congressman is being investigated for sexually explicit exchanges he allegedly had with a 15-year-old girl. Yes, federal prosecutors are weighing bringing child porn charges against former Representative Anthony Weiner over sexually explicit exchanges he allegedly had with a 15-year-old girl, according to people familiar with the matter. He's in trouble. I guess it could be even bigger trouble than he originally thought. But if they've got the information that he traded pictures with, nude photos and sexually explicit photos with this girl, and everybody knows the girl is underage, well, then there's no need to weigh the possibility of charges. Just charge him with child porn. I mean, look, if an 18-year-old can get charged with child pornography because they have a picture of themselves when they were 16 or 17, then this guy needs to go to jail. I mean, there are, especially boys. There are boys who are now sitting on sexual registration lists across this country. Why? Because they were 16 or 17 years old and they decided to take, everybody takes a naked picture of themselves. They decided to take a naked picture of themselves when they're 16 or 17. Then they turn 18 and all of a sudden they have child pornography. It's of themselves. Well, no, you can't do that. You can't take a naked picture. And even kids under, you can't take your own nude photo. You can't take a nude photo of yourself if you're underage. It's child pornography, according to some prosecutors. I kid you not. And these kids are getting in trouble for taking nude pictures of themselves and then sending it to their girlfriend or boyfriend. There was another case. There was a case in was it Illinois? I think it was Illinois. A 14-year-old gay boy sent a nude photo of himself to his 15-year-old boyfriend. Now both are in trouble for having child pornography. Are you kidding me? They're gay, so they're boyfriends. And he took the picture of him. His boyfriend didn't take the picture of him. He took the picture of himself. It was a selfie, naked selfie. And somehow it got intercepted. It's on both of their phones, so they're both in trouble. You got to be kidding me. This is not what the law was intended for. So if convicted of having and distributing child pornography, the 14 and 15-year-old, they could be on a sexual offenders registration list for the rest of their life. Because one of them took a picture of himself to send as a gift to his boyfriend. So if that can happen to a 14 and 15-year-old, then they better sure as damn hell better that at least charge Anthony Weiner with these same charges. You can't. I'm sick and tired of this double standard on our society. One of the things I think people need to understand is when I talk about certain people that are that are in Congress, and I get people telling me, "Well, Rod, you can't talk like you can have respect for these people." I'm like, no. Here's the deal. I don't care who they are or what level of government they're in. I do not work for them. They work for me. Therefore, I should possibly show them respect that an employer has for an employee. And since they are my employee, senator or not, they damn well better respect me because I'm their freaking employer. Every single one of us out here is. So if they want to demand that I come talk to them and sit in front of them, I'm sorry, we're going to turn the tables around. I'm going to be talking to you and asking you questions, and you're not going to pontificate from some high seat up there because you think that I work for you and that I'm your subject. That's not the way the government in this country works. There aren't or should not be two versions of laws. It should all be the same one law, single law that applies to everyone. But of course, we have these double standards that have taken place. And one of these, I think Trump is also making sure that this is something that isn't going to be tolerated. Then you have to understand that Trump is a guy who does not play political games. I don't even think he really knows how to play political games because he doesn't do it. I mean, while everybody was speculating about who his first pick was going to be and the type of political games that Trump could play or was going to play, and then he didn't play him, everybody's shocked. It's still because everybody's looking at Trump with the lens of politics. Donald Trump doesn't have time to play politics. He's too busy trying to get things accomplished and trying to check things off his to-do list, his promise list. Look, I have no. Is he going to be able to accomplish everything that he promised? No, but is he going to at least try as best that Donald Trump can possibly try to get 99% of that list done? Yes, he is. I have no doubt about that. And that's why the left can't stand him, because he's actually keeping promises. I mean, he's trying to keep all of them so far, not just a few. Not just the insignificant ones, but he's trying to keep them all. And these people are having a fit because of that. Well, nobody does it that way. And they still don't get it. He's not a politician. Anthony Weiner he thinks he's still a politician, even though he resigned in disgrace. Oh, that's the other thing. Where's all the protest against Anthony Weiner? Huh? Well, I mean, all I can say is, it's pretty sad when you get to the point where you can say, thankfully, thank God he was trolling girls instead of boys. I mean, that's pretty bad to have to say that. Really. Because normally it would have been, probably would have, it should have, the way things have been lately, it seems it's a boy that's being, brutalized or attacked in some form, being abused. Whether it be a girl, like a teacher, female teacher. There's another one out there. Was it? I think it was in 27-year-old teacher keeping her 14-year-old student after class and then having sex with him. Why? What? Seriously? What do women? Well, I guess teenage boys just have a certain look about them. Maybe it's that in between stage that they don't quite look like little boys, but they don't quite look like grown men yet. There's that in between stage, I guess. Girls. I think girls have that too. But girls may skip that because of makeup and other things that they do to try to make themselves look older. So they go from preteen to, college age, and they skip their teenagers. But boys, they don't seem to do that because they don't wear makeup, at least not yet. So some boys, and they are boys if they're teenagers. If they're not 18, they're not adults, they're not men. And hell, you're still a boy if you're 18. Some boys are very good looking. There's no doubt about it. I just don't. Maybe it's because I'm just too normal, but I cannot look at a 16-year-old boy or girl and have sexual thoughts about them. I can look at him and say, yeah, he's a good-looking kid, or, well, that's a beautiful girl. But she's a girl. Girl. Not woman. Girl. But yeah, there are people out there like the former congressman who just have these sick minds that look at them a little bit differently, I guess. They have this whole sexual predator mentality, I suppose. Is there any fixing them? I don't think so. But let me tell you, I'm with some of these dads out there. If I ever found out or caught somebody messing with my kids sexually, they wouldn't make it to court. They would not make it to court. I'd be the one going to court because they wouldn't make it to court. Just no. Just absolutely not. This cannot be acceptable behavior at all. And we're believe it or not, folks, we're moving towards that. We're moving towards this deviant behavior being more and more acceptable. It's happening more and more, by the way. Has anybody noticed that? I mean, I can't. It doesn't seem I can't go a day without reading a story about some female teacher having sex with their under 18 male student. Sometimes more than one, or if it's a mom. Yeah, moms out there throwing a birthday party for their 16-year-old son, and then as a birthday gift to the friends having sex with a couple. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Or you find out that the guy next door is gay, and he's been having sexual intercourse with your 15-year-old son for the past year and a half. Stuff like that's in the news all the time. So I'm just got too many other things to talk about too. So.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
We've all heard of male enhancement, But now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said to me, I bet you won't lend me money to buy an electric guitar. Well, he was making $100 a week, and he was over 18, and I said, I bet you I will lend you money to buy an electric guitar. And I did. So what happens? The punk gets busted for possession of dangerous drugs, and we're out $350. There's one thing about kids nowadays. You don't have to give them credit.
Universal Bank. We trust you. About as far as we can throw you.
In case you're wondering, there are approximately 1.1 billion websites out there on the web. 1.1 billion. And depending on where you're getting your estimate from and what they classify as pornography or not, you're looking at somewhere in the neighborhood of 400 to 650,000 of the million, 400 to 650 million of that 1.1 billion websites are porn related. That's 50%. That's about 50% of the worldwide website, not just the U.S. Worldwide websites. There's approximately 1.1 billion of them out there, and depending on who's doing the survey, I don't know how they count all this, but it's anywhere from 400 million to 650 million of them are porn related. Sexually, pornographic, sexual related, I guess. That's a lot of even some of the. There's been stuff on YouTube that's been highly questionable. I've watched. You ever see some of the pranks? There's this one Aussie. New Zealand. He's from, I can't remember his name. He pranks his younger brother's like 16 years old. So he pranks his younger brother all the time. Now, I think some of it is staged. So I watched a couple of episodes. It was like 3. And I'm like, okay, they're actually kind of funny. And then I got to the 4th one, and he's talking about, well, I put itching powder in because my brother likes to take too many. He takes at least 2 showers a day. He likes to take too many showers. Well, I put itching powder in his body wash. I'm thinking, okay, this could be funny. So I expect, for us to be with the camera waiting outside the bathroom door, and the brother comes out screaming. No, he put a hidden camera in the shower. Yeah, I know. I'm surprised that somebody in the United States didn't think that was, child porn, but I guess that could be construed as pornography. Well, I mean, he blurred out the parts that needed to be blurred out on his brother, but I was kind of shocked that he actually had the camera in, and his brother didn't seem to care that the camera was in the shower. He was more concerned about the stupid shampoo or body wash being tainted. Anything to make a buck or to be famous on YouTube, I guess. That's the way it works, and that's the way some of our politicians are trying to go too. I know Trump is all over the place on Twitter, but he's actually communicating with the American people. Everybody else is just trying to get famous or try to outdo Trump. They're all trying to out-Trump Trump. Like I've always said, you cannot out-liberal a liberal if you are not a liberal, so don't even try. So if you're trying to out-Trump Trump, don't even try because you can't out-Trump Trump. You really can't. Well, that means that we are basically out of time for today. We'll be back here tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be Freedom Friday edition because I will be out of town traveling to Dallas, Texas, Fort Worth, where I'll be giving a keynote address over the weekend. More information about that tomorrow. Until then, have a wonderful Wednesday hump day afternoon, everybody. See you tomorrow. I'm Rod Eccles. Thanks for listening. I'm out.
Feels good to be a Clinton. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. A shameless politician always plays her cards right. Got a crew for the fight on the airwaves. Lapdogs in the press keep their mouths tight. Cause a Clinton never needs to explain why it is what they done or with who. A real Clinton knows that they're entitled. And you don't get to know what they do.
What difference does it make?
For Clinton, what's loaded in some fat Apple file? A Clinton plays the victim for promotion. A Clinton kills it off with a smile. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. A server full of secrets ain't no thing. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. Nothing ever hits with the sting.